All right, welcome to my stream. So, it's been a minute since I've streamed on this channel. Let me see. Yeah, I did a little stream for a YouTube video that I actually never published. But um I'm here again, and obviously as you can tell from the title, we're going to be talking about Clawdbot. So, I figured a lot of people would just watch the stream like retroactively, so I'm just going to jump straight into it. But I'm streaming from my Mac Mini today because, like I said, we're going to be doing a deep dive into Clawdbot. And this is going to be a many part series, but my goal is to fully automate the entire back end of my agency with Clawdbot so that I can fully just focus on client acquisition and fulfillment. And even maybe automate some parts of that as well, because some parts of that are like menial tasks that people really don't want to be doing. So we're going to get into Clawdbot, talking about it. This is obviously the intro stream, and I'm going to need you to bear with me because many of the niceties that I normally would have had if I was streaming from my MacBook are currently just not there right now. So hold on, let me clean my camera lens too. Okay, that should be a little bit clearer. There we go. All right, so I also moved my camera because I had to move some things around on my desk. So again, please bear with me because this is my first time setting up the stream, and tonight I'm going to be streaming for just about an hour and a half, maybe, which will allow us to get a few things done. But let's just jump straight into it. So first, we're going to talk about exactly what can you do with Clawdbot. So in order to answer this, I'm going to pull up the website, the Clawdbot website, and we're going to just kind of take a look at it together. So my thing just kind of froze on me a little bit, but see, this is what I mean. Like it's acting like it doesn't know what's going on right now, but it knows what's going on. We've been through this before. Okay, let's switch on over. How do I do that? Oh, there we go. Okay, so this is the official landing page of Clawdbot, and no, I didn't bring you here just to read everything word for word, but I think it's important to kind of go through like this section, what it does, because that really influences obviously like how we use it and the tasks that we can automate with it. So starting off with the fact that it runs on your machine, this is a very important point because of privacy issues and concerns. So if you're anything like me, I'm someone that I like to be very cognizant of my. This mic might be a little bit too loud. Let me turn it down. If you're anything like me, I'm someone that I like to be a little bit cognizant of my data and how my data is being used, and like the fact that it's local on my machine, especially when you're giving an AI like this so much power to control so many things. I think this could be this is such a huge game changer because I do think that if Claude AI from Anthropic and ChatGPT, if they operated locally, or if they made it like if the fact that that was a selling point that they could operate locally, then I think that they probably would get way more business and maybe a little bit less hate if they led with the privacy angle first. Any chat app, this is really cool. I've actually been seeing a lot of stuff on this from like Twitter. So I'll pull up Twitter and I'll see like screenshots, which we'll probably look at in a second here. We might get to see some of these, but let me see actually. Let's see if I can find some screenshots from Twitter. Cause I wonder like, Twitter, or like this right here. Yeah, so like screenshots like this, where you can like, bro, I wish I was on my MacBook because then I could zoom in, but just know that, like, here, I could just zoom in like this. There we go. All right, so this is just for you guys, but like this person is literally talking to their Clawdbot through like WhatsApp, and apparently it works through like many other things like iMessage and Telegram, and basically like any messaging app that you use, this works with. So I'm super excited to try that part out, because then it'll actually feel like a digital, like an actual assistant, and not just like a, I don't know. ChatGPT and Claude don't quite have that assistant feeling just yet. So I'm hoping that Clawdbot will give me that. Persistent memory. This is something that Claude and ChatGPT kind of already have. Like, they remember you and they remember your preferences, your contacts, everything. So this is very important to have. Browser control. This is a game changer. So this is specifically, browser control. This is specifically what makes Clawdbot so unique, is the fact that it can browse the web. So let's click on this and see. So, I'm not going to explain it because I know a lot of you guys are not technical, and I probably would need to read over it a little bit more first before I can like fully explain it. But ChatGPT and OpenAI and Claude are not able to fully browse the web in this way. And the reason why they're not able to do that is, I don't want to get too much into the weeds and the details, but basically because anybody and everybody and their mom can use ChatGPT and Claude, and so they're kind of aiming for mass adoption. And so if you have an agent that can browse the web, anybody can use it to browse the web and do whatever and take whatever action. The internet is just going to become polluted. So them as the big dogs, they're not able to do this because, like I said, the internet is going to become polluted. So a quote unquote smaller company like OpenClaw, they're able to do this because, first of all, it requires a teeny tiny bit of technical know-how. And so that barrier to entry is literally just enough to keep the pollution out, which is very cool. Full system access. This is something that really scared me, that kind of made me run away from it a little bit. But, I don't know. We'll see what that entails moving on. And this is why you need like a separate device. So this is why I'm using my Mac Mini. A lot of people, they end up getting like a Raspberry Pi or some other device, or maybe some other burner Mac Mini or something. I don't really use my Mac Mini, so like that's why this is perfect for this project right now. And then lastly, skills and plugins. So this is super cool. I'm going to show you like the Claude Hub. So this is the Claude Hub, and it has like a bunch of skills and stuff. So basically what skills are is like, it's kind of like what it sounds like, which is essentially like, think of it as like power ups for like a video game character. So like if you have a skill, like for example, you need to control Slack and use it to message your team, you have a Slack skill. So what you're going to do is add the Slack skill to Clawdbot, and now Claude can access Slack and they can control Slack. And there's many, many other skills. And the cool thing about this is that it it's open source. So a lot of people can add skills. The other end of that, like the weird thing about it, is that because it's open source, anybody can add skills. And if we go back to what I just mentioned, because I want you to like be fully aware of all the risks if you decide to do this. So if you go back to everything that I have just mentioned, right? The thing that I said that scared me, which is full system access, that is a problem because anybody can create these skills. So if you download a skill that's been created by any old Jack and Jill, you're essentially possibly giving it full system access to your computer, which is why a lot of people use different computers, like a burner computer, like a Mac Mini in my case, or some people use Raspberry Pis or whatever the case may be, is because they don't want to potentially compromise their main machine. So this is why, like, I would advise you to just be cautious, move with caution, and yeah. But if we go back to this, like you can see there are many skills. You can get the current weather. So some like a cool unique way for you to use this could be like, okay, when I wake up in the morning, Clawdbot, I want you to tell me like the weather, and I want you to tell me like my aura score or whatever. I don't know. They have an aura skill as well. They have it, but it's probably under suspicious because someone else probably made it, so it's under suspicious. But it's cool that they have this so you can hide like what's suspicious and what's not. I would just recommend like a good rule of thumb, especially if you're not technical. A good rule of thumb would be to just be careful about what you download. Make sure that this is ticked, that it's always hiding the suspicious ones, and make sure that if you're downloading skills, you're downloading it from a reputable source. And also make sure that you're using a burner computer that doesn't have too much personal information on it. So let us now, I believe that we have kind of covered everything here. So now let's move on to some examples really quick. And this is just like I said, this is an intro stream. So anyone who watches the stream, obviously you can probably skip around. But I did kind of show this already, but I'm going to show a little bit more. You're gonna have to forgive me. It's taking like on my computer, I would do stuff like this so much faster, but it's taking a little bit longer. Okay, so these are examples of what people are building, and I didn't have anything in specific that I wanted to take note of, but I mean we can pick out some random stuff. Like I showed you examples of where like someone was able to talk to Claude with WhatsApp and receive messages and stuff like that. So let's see what else we can find here that's very cool. So I think something I just saw. So gave Claude, they mean Claude, but they said Claw. Gave Claude access to Garmin Watch, Obsidian Vault, GitHub repos, VPS. What's VPS? What is that? Hosting? Oh, virtual private server? Oh, okay. Virtual machines that share resources on a physical server. So what do VPSs hold? VPS do. A virtual private server is a flexible used to host websites, applications, and database. Okay, cool. Anyway, So he did that, Telegram, WhatsApp, X, and now it logs his sleep, writes code, and deploys it, updates Obsidian daily notes, tracks who visits, menu capture, which I'm guessing is his app, and where they came from, monitors earthquakes in Tokyo, which I'm guessing is probably where he lives, researches stuff online, and saves files to my desktop. This can be really cool, especially for anyone who's in the YouTube or content space. So, like me specifically, researching is such a huge bottleneck for content. I think it's going to make good content way better, and it's going to make basically just increase the baseline overall, especially if you know what good looks like, which I'll talk about that a little bit later. But reminds him of his schedule, including holidays and accommodation, and checks on him as well if he's quiet for too long through Telegram. So this is a very cool example. Look at this. This is very cool. What else? Let's see. Let's find one more other cool thing, and then we're gonna move on to the next part of the video. So this, like, a lot of developers use it. So this one says they're using it for developing apps on the go. Projects, 4 million posts across 100 top X accounts. Claude is an orchestration layer, which, yeah, I was talking to people about it, and I was like, yeah, that's basically exactly what Clawdbot is like an orchestration agent, and it just like pulls the other agents. OpenClaw is now my primary interface to the digital world. All of my notes, emails, projects, questions, plans, and specs flow through a central system with Discord as the interface. This eliminates tons of friction to go from idea to execution. I don't have to orchestrate a bunch of independent tools anymore. It's just a single interface. This is like basically just this, right? This is exactly what I was saying. And you can have many, many sorts of agents and use cases through just this one Clawdbot. So I do think that this is very promising. So yeah, with that being said, we're now going to move on to the next thing. And we're going to be watching more YouTube videos that describe this. So I thought I would just like take some time to talk a little bit more about Claude and exactly what it does, exactly why it's useful, why you should care, why you should be careful. And we're going to do this before I get into the part of the video where I'm just watching and learning, which is probably could be boring for some. So, we're going to be, like I said, like very soon watching more YouTube videos. But before that, last thing I kind of wanted to just talk about really quick is if Clawdbot can do everything for you, then what is left for the human to do? This is a very common question, a very common, concern that people have. And so I'm here to take a stab at answering that question. And obviously, I'm not going to know if my answer is accurate until way later. But I do think that certain skills are going to end up becoming way more high value. So one of those skills is project management and organization. So an epiphany I had sometime late last year in Q4 of 2025 is that AI, first of all, AI has existed for a long time, but now we have opened AI to the public. Like anybody can use AI and interact with it like they're interacting with a human, right? They can interact with it in plain basic text. So what that means is that the barrier to entry is now way lower. The use case for AI back in the day, before it became like this big thing, before it became a buzzword of like, oh, AI is going to change the world, the main use case was to analyze data. And it still is. People still use it to analyze data. So if you have data, which everybody has data, right? Like you can tell that ChatGPT works better when you provide it the necessary context, when you provide it enough context to operate on you. You can tell that ChatGPT does way better. So if you give it enough data, then it will perform it'll perform well. It'll perform better. And so, by that token, it becomes necessary for you to know how to manage projects, manage requirements of projects, and organize the data, the necessary data of that project and of the components of that project, and organize it well. Label your data well. Because if you cannot label your data well, if you cannot organize your data well, then you're not going to make it. Because like Claude and ChatGPT, they're not miracle workers. Clawdbot is not a miracle worker. They rise to the level of your data, these AI platforms. So little food for thought. That's number one. Number two is expertise. I think expertise is going to be a huge skill that'll be very high value. And I don't have the tweet now. I wish I did. And I'm not logged in on Twitter on this computer, so I can't see my tweet or the tweet that I'm referring to. Let me see. Because I really want to show you, because it's like, oh my gosh. All right, never mind. It's asking me for a login verification code, and I don't have the phone. So I'll just continue. But basically, there was this tweet, and if I remember, I'll put it in the description. And if it's not in the description, then I have forgotten about it. But there's this tweet where okay, so there's this tweet where essentially someone was like, yeah, so like I'm vibe coding and like I don't know I don't know how to make, like, if it makes a mistake, I don't know how to troubleshoot, and I don't understand the code that's being written. It's like, this is truly what somebody said. And I mean, my response was like, okay, you can literally just like ask it to explain the little blocks of code, and it'll tell you. And that's like that's like a band-aid to fix a bullet wound. The blood will maybe stop for a millisecond, but obviously there are deeper problems. And the real truth of the matter is that obviously a lot of people don't know what good looks like. A lot of people who use these AI platforms, they don't know what good code looks like. If you make something and eventually you need to bring in real developers, and they don't know what's going on with your code base because you just used ChatGPT and Claude and Gemini, and you can't explain your code to them or what it does, that's kind of a problem. And if you cannot identify what good looks like as well in terms of the output, so in terms of the direct, like like the output, not just the code output, but like the application output. If you cannot identify what good looks like in that application as well, then that is also a problem. So I do think that expertise, the skill gap, like the wealth gap, the skill gap is going to get exponentially higher because AI is going to make skilled people even more skilled, and it's going to present a barrier for the less skilled people because they're probably for a while going to be thinking that, oh, this is what good looks like because the AI told me this, and that's just simply not true. And I think that my last prediction is that I think creativity is going to be something that's even more important now, like way more important now, specifically regarding to how these tools can be used to revolutionize existing processes. So I showed you, oh, my bad. So I showed you this little website where people are talking about what they did and how they're using Clawdbot in their lives. I think that skill is super high value because obviously, like, if the more unique and the more unique ways you can find to make processes efficient, then obviously the more you will succeed. And some people might find, because it's not linear, like this whole AI shit is not linear. It's not like, oh, I can put it here and plug it into my business and it's going to handle every single thing. But it's like, okay, it might revolutionize things, but it's not going to completely like carve out a certain thing just yet. It's not end to end, I will say. I don't know, maybe I'll eat my words in a bit, but we'll see. But the last thing I just wanted to warn against, I've been doing a few warnings since, and I'm gonna start getting to the learning part. But the last thing I wanted to warn against is that you should not fully delegate tasks to Clawdbot. I do not believe in that. I believe that true founders consistently stay in the details of their business, and that means like quality checking, being sure that what Clawdbot is putting out, you are okay with putting out as your name, as if you did it yourself. And so that's just my thing. I'm not going to be fully delegating any process to Clawdbot and like sending out things to people from Clawdbot, but I will be using Clawdbot probably as an interface between me and my data, and I will be using it to help with research of content and content ideas. So, with that being said, I'm going to now queue up my playlist. Let me actually make sure my audio is good here really quick before. Oh, oh, my thing is not even connected. Okay. And also, oh my gosh, this thing kind of broke, but I'm hoping that it's going to be fine, so we'll see. Okay. Sounds good. All right, let me switch over to, I'm going to YouTube channel or YouTube website rather. And we're going to switch to, let's see here. All right, so I forgot to log in. Let's see if I can do it any other way. Otherwise, I might just have to black out my camera. I'm sorry, guys. I'm telling you, like, it's, I mean, this is my first time streaming with this, so you're going to have to excuse me while I get this in order, but next time should be a little bit more put together. Okay. All right, and this playlist I will be putting it in the description as well. So I'm just going to add that to my reminders to put this in the description. Okay. If I can grab that, there we go. Okay, so I legit made like a full playlist. Literally, I mean, it's short, but it's long at the same time. But I try to. It's like 5 videos long. Um, First one is like an explained video, just like a short explainer, a tutorial for beginners, another beginner's guide, full use cases. I think I'm gonna bump this up to like over here, and then yeah, use cases. Let's see. And then a full tutorial from Free Code Camp. And real ones know what Free Code Camp is. So yeah, we're literally just gonna watch this. It's gonna go quiet. So if you were here for the talking bits, thanks for being here. Otherwise, yeah, let's get into it. I've enjoyed your company thus far. It's not available? What do you mean? There we go. What? What? I'm sorry. But what? What do you mean it's not available? Alright, let me try my MacBook. I don't understand. Like, what? What do you mean? It literally, like, you can see it. I I really thought that I wanted like a short explainer of it at the beginning too. So if that's not gonna work, it's like legit. Like it's loaded, but it's not. Okay, let's do it in incognito so we can see it without any. Like, what is going on? What do you mean it's not? That is so weird. I mean, even here, it's not like loading. Is it like a YouTube thing? Like no YouTube videos loading on my MacBook. What is going on? Okay, this was a little bit of a. This was a little bit of a This was such an unexpected roadblock, a little detour, if you will. Huh, that's so weird. Like, what is it? Wait, okay, let me see if, like, let me see if, because it's not just that either. Like, I'm looking here, and, like, it says it for everything, that the content is unavailable. Even if I reload, let's see. So what is going on? Let me quit, and then I will restart the browser. But, like, even on my MacBook, like, what I don't understand. Okay, this is working. Let's go back to the playlist. Oh wait, I wonder if you can actually wait, can you hear a video if I play it? With this? I wonder if this allows you to hear video. Okay. It's working now. That was so weird. I don't know why it like randomly just said like nope, you're not gonna watch this. Okay. For whatever reason. OBS has decided to betray me. Okay. Let's try that again.
These seen so many countless
All right,
videos.
I think it should be good.
The internet has officially been broken one more time by the release of the latest tool, Clawdbot. And if you've gone on the internet in the last couple days, you've probably seen so many countless videos released all across YouTube and other social media platforms talking about this exact tool. But before we go ahead and do that, I want to simply clarify here that this has absolutely nothing to do with Anthropic or Claude. So let's go ahead and break down exactly how Clawdbot actually works in the simplest way possible. Now, you can think about this application in 3 distinct layers. And the good news is you're probably already familiar with all of these layers anyways. The first layer is the messaging layer. So you can connect Clawdbot into your favorite messaging platform like WhatsApp, Telegram, or text messages, for example, so you can send messages for particular tasks and receive responses back. Now, the second layer is the large language model. So you're giving it a brain in order to think, and you can connect it into ChatGPT, Claude, or Google Gemini. And the third layer is giving access to all the tools that you're already using. So you're essentially giving Clawdbot hands to do the work for you, so you don't have to do it yourself. And so what it can do is take control of your computer and be able to do all the tasks that you're otherwise having to do manually. So you can send messages through your favorite messaging platform like WhatsApp, for example. Then the AI brain will go ahead and determine what it needs to do, and then it will access the tools that get the job done. And that all sounds great, right? But there are a lot of risks when using a tool like Clawdbot. And the main one is that there's no real guardrails in place to enforce the AI to behave in a certain way once it starts running. And you're probably pretty familiar with this with ChatGPT, right? You log in, you ask a question, every single time it delivers you a different result. But with Clawdbot, it's slightly different because you're giving it access to all your tools, right? So it might keep doing things even though it shouldn't. My next risk is that you're giving it broad permissions to all your files and all of your folders so that it can take action.
This is basically what I talked about.
A folder, you might get an error or a warning saying, hey, do you actually want to go ahead and delete this? And you can be like, oh crap, like maybe I don't want to delete that. But with Clawdbot, it's just going to go ahead and take the best action that it thinks is appropriate in the moment, and that might not be the action that you actually wanted to take. So it could download files off the internet that you don't want it to actually download. It could delete things. It could send off emails that you don't want to send, and so on and so forth. And the last risk in this video that I want to talk about is the fact that costs can spiral out of control. So with a lot of the apps that you're connecting to Clawdbot, they cost money, right? Every single time you use ChatGPT through the API or you use Claude or Gemini, that costs you money. And so what might happen is you can set up all of these tasks to run on a daily cadence or weekly or monthly, and by then a month you might return back and realize the price that you spent was way higher than you intended. And moving on here just from the risks, another thing that I thought was interesting that was worth mentioning in this video is that I see a lot of people online talking about how it is revolutionary and how it's blowing their minds and that it's going to change their lives. And I think that could be true in a couple of instances, but I also think that that's way overhyped. And let me explain why I say that. Because the reality is that a lot of these tools already exist in different forms. I mean, the idea of automating your personal tasks or your business is not new. You can log into Anti-Gravity for free today. You can build agentic workflows that do the same things that you can do in Clawdbot. You can also do the same thing in Claude Code. And even if you want to roll back time, you go into no-code tools like NADN or Make.com to be able to build out deterministic workflows that automate all aspects of your life. And the keyword there, deterministic, is something I want to here.
Okay, so what I will say is that the difference between what he is describing and Clawdbot is, first of all, Clawdbot, I believe, is open source. So that's a huge thing. And then also, just like I mean, I guess you probably could do like very similar things. Like interface with it on WhatsApp and other stuff, but I don't know. Let's keep watching.
when it comes to Clawdbot. Because when you're using apps like n8n, deterministic means that you're building out all of these nodes independently to accomplish a particular function. And every single time this runs, it's going to get you the exact same results. But when you're dealing with Clawdbot, it's probabilistic, which means that because you're defining a goal that you want AI to accomplish, like for example, generating a newsletter in Google Docs, every single time you run it, it will deliver different results, right? So what that means is that by nature, it's more unreliable. And when you compound that by giving it access to all of these different files, all of these different folders, and there's no guardrails in place, you might not get the results that you're really looking for. And so that is the major risk when using an app like Clawdbot. Now, if you want to go ahead and try this out completely for free,
This is why, by the way, this is why I am a full 100% proponent of not fully delegating work, and you still need to be the quality checker. You still need to have a quality checker in place. So, like I said, this is not going to be like a savior that's going to solve all your problems, but it can definitely help in many ways.
all you have to do is head over to their domain, Clawdbot, which I find is absolutely hilarious because the domain clearly did not age well, considering the fact that they had to change the domain down here. But on their website, you can go over to the Quick Start Guide and copy in this command by hitting the copy button here. And by the way, you don't need to know any code. And then enter this into your terminal. It's going to enter you into a Quick Start Guide to set this up in a matter of a couple minutes. If you want to open up your terminal, you can just go into like Spotlight and search for this if you're on a Mac, for example. And the other option is to host this in the cloud using Hostinger, which has dedicated hosting for Clawdbot. Now, I'm going to summarize this in one sentence, but the distinction between the cloud and your computer is that in the cloud, you can run mission critical operations for your business. Anytime on your computer, if the internet cuts, the terminal here cuts, or your computer dies, you're not going to be able to actually use Clawdbot, which means that if you're running mission critical operations and your computer dies, you're not going to be able to run them until you start your computer back up. Now, you've probably also seen a lot of people buying Mac Minis to host Clawdbot on, and this all starts at the low price of $600 and goes all the way up to $1,400. I mean, that sounds like a pretty sweet deal. I'm just kidding. Like, you can do this if you want to, but you also could get started for $4.99 in Hostinger or for free on your computer as well. Now, just to wrap up here, guys, I do really think that this is the future of AI automation, just not in its current form. So I think that there will be an application that comes by with the same idea, with the same power, but just with better safeguards built in place so that you can get predictable results every single time without the headache. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you found value in it. If you did, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below and that like button. And also, if you're looking to learn more about AI and automation, I highly recommend taking a look at my school community because I teach all these tools in here so that you can become an expert in these and apply it to your life to make money and save time. In terms of making money, I will teach you exactly how you can find, close, and fulfill your first deal in an AI automation agency within 30 days or less, and then you just rinse and repeat and acquire more customers and so on and so forth. And then the second transformation here is for those of you who have existing businesses. I'll show you how you can automate up to 80% of your business.
All right, this is his CTA. I think he's done. Let's see. Oh, whoops.
The internet has officially been broken one more time by the release, so that hopefully you can get similar results as well. And if you want a done for you solution, I highly recommend taking a look at my agency over here.
Okay, yeah, he's done. That was a decent video that basically just talked about what I kind of talked
In this
about.
video, I'm going to be showing you 8 practical use cases for Clawdbot. That's just going to change how you work forever. Most people showing this off right now are just explaining how to set it up or saying it can do anything. That's not helpful. So I'm going to be showing you specific things that I'm actually using it for every day to get my work done. We're going to be covering everything from setting it up to how I made my Clawdbot, my marketing team, how it's fixing problems that I don't even know exists, or how you can even manage it from your Apple Watch or even your phone while you're traveling. So let's get into it. Okay, so I want to quickly cover what is Clawdbot, or now Moltbot, to set the foundation. So most people right now think it's just Claude code on your phone. It's not. Here's what it actually is.
I don't like the way this video is edited. I don't know. Maybe I'm just like being picky because I have I don't know, but I just don't like the way it's edited.
Imagine you take the smartest AI model available, you give it eyes, you give it hands, and you sit it at a desk with a keyboard and mouse connected to your Mac. Then, what you can do is you can message it like a coworker, and it can do everything a regular person could do sitting at that computer. So it has its own identity as well, and it does these things on its own without you having to ask it constantly. That's what Clawdbot is. All right, so let's talk about how we should set this up. Because there's a massive debate happening right now where you've got people running Clawdbot on a $5 VPS server, and then you've got people who just bought a $10,000 Mac Studio.
That's what he talked about in the last video.
I want to see what it's doing, and when it gets stuck, which it will, I need to step in and help fix it. So with Mac Mini, I can take over the screen from anywhere, and if something breaks, I'm not debugging Docker logs at 2 a.m. So my recommendation is that if you're a beginner, get the cheapest Mac Mini you can, or just rent one. Don't overcomplicate. And if you're advanced, do whatever you want. If you don't want to spend the money, I actually found some services you can use to rent out virtual Macs for about $25 a month, and it works the same. I'll put the links in the description below. All right, so now with that out of the way, let me show you how to set this up the correct way. All right, to set this up the correct way, we're going to need 2 things, and it's really simple. Number 1, you're going to need to know how to copy and paste, and number 2, you're going to need to just open up the terminal. All right, so right here, you see, I actually went ahead inside the classroom. By the way, this is free and in the description below. In the resources, I actually built you guys a guide so you can just start copy and pasting stuff, right? So first of all, step 1 is just you have to install Homebrew. So what you do is you copy this thing, and then what you want to do is open terminal. So this is the terminal right here, and you just copy and paste. So here, I'm going to paste this here, and then enter my password. All right, so when it's installed, you're going to see something like this. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to step 2, and I'm going to verify that Homebrew is installed by copying this, going to the bottom, and then whoops, I hit it too many times, but here, enter. And then you can see there's the version for Homebrew. Okay, number 2, we need to install Node.js. So we're going to copy this.
All right, so what I'm going to do is literally just skip to the use cases. Let's see this.
We said hi, and look what it says. I just came online, fresh workspace, no memories yet. Who am I? Who are you? Now our Clawdbot is alive. That was the hardest thing you could do. Now it gets way easier, right? Let me hop into my actual Clawdbot and I'll show you all the use cases we can get this to do. Okay, great. So we have our Clawdbot set up. So just a quick tour. Everything we need to configure, any settings, whatnot, I'll be showing you inside this UI. This UI is called the daemon, and we're going to be controlling anything Clawdbot can do from either here or through Telegram that we just set up with that key. So you can see you can chat back and forth with Telegram. I've just been doing it to get a feel for it. So now that we have everything set up, let's get into use case number 1. All right, so use case number 1 is the most simple, but it's also my favorite one, and it's called proactive AI. And what proactive AI really means is that normally when we interact with, let's say, Claude or ChatGPT or whatnot, we always have to trigger it first. But what we can do with Clawdbot is that we can literally get it to have its own mind and talk to us when it needs to. This is done through this thing called cron jobs, and I'll show you how to set that up. All right, so I recommend this is the first thing you guys set up as well, because
Okay, so it's like, I mean, it did say it's a tutorial, but it's like a full tutorial. So the first use case is, which by the way, I'm taking notes. Okay, so the first use case is Telegram bot that talks to you when it needs to. It's not very specific, but we'll keep going.
It really keeps me accountable on what I need to be doing, and I've seen that just with this habit alone, I've gotten so much more done, right? And it's really simple. So I'll pull up the screenshot. All I did was just tell Claude. Remember,
Okay.
all I did is say, can you send me a message every day at 8:30 a.m. right? And it's really you guys set up and get it to have its own mind and talk to us when it needs to. This is done through this thing called cron jobs, and I'll show you how to set that up. All right, so I recommend this is the first thing you guys set up as well, because it really keeps me accountable on what I need to be doing, and I've seen that just with this habit alone, I've gotten so much more done, right? And it's really simple. So I'll pull up the screenshot. All I did was just tell Claude. Remember, we're past the hard part. All I did is say, can you send me a message every day at 8:30 a.m. to record my top 3 priorities for the day? And at the end of the day, 10 p.m., ask me what I got done and why I didn't. I want you to keep a log of it and make a ClickUp list of different things to the list for my personal tasks. Look, this is another screenshot. That's me. That's when it's asking me about what I want to get done, and I just give my voice notes and I talk to it. So that's really simple, but it keeps me organized, and that's what I'm doing right now. I'm doing the Clawdbot video because this thing is keeping me accountable. So let me show you how to set that up because it's so easy. All right, to set this up, all we need to do is just make sure our cron job.
All right. So it literally Telegram bot that talks to you when it needs to, and use it as a personal assistant for to-do lists and other personal housekeeping tasks. I think that's a accurate representation of that use case. The goal here is to maybe see a use case that I can maybe like replicate or transform in some way into my personal agency, and hopefully by you watching this you can find something that you can replicate or transform into your agency maybe. So let us now do, let's see, so it was like Telegram bot skills, voice transcription, browser automation. Let's do this.
Give me a folder above so I can copy and drag. Right? So this is, I'm just showing you how you should be using Clawdbot, and you shouldn't have to know how to do stuff. And you see right here, you drag in this extension, you hit this, and it's the same thing, and then you hit select. Cool. Now you can control your browser with Clawdbot. Okay, now Clawdbot can already do a lot. So what I want to make sure you know is we don't want our Mac Mini turning off randomly, right? So I'm going to show you how to always keep it running so you can always interact with Clawdbot from your phone.
Okay, so I wouldn't say this is a practical use cases, but in fairness, I didn't watch the full video. It's kind of like an idea, and they build on top of it from all these other things.
And how you do that is first you open up Spotlight Search and then find energy, okay? And in energy, you want to make sure you have prevent automatic sleep.
And it's more of a tutorial, which I'm not looking for. I'll probably come back to this after I finish the other tutorial.
When it comes to AI assistants, most AI tools today live in a browser. You open a tab, you ask a question, you get an answer, and once you close that tab,
See, this editing is way better than the other one.
it kind of disappears. They're useful, but they don't really feel like assistants, and that's exactly the problem Clawdbot is trying to solve. Unlike typical AI chatbots, Clawdbot is a self-hosted AI assistant that runs directly on your computer. It connects to powerful AI models like Claude or ChatGPT for intelligence, while the agent itself lives locally on your PC. And this means it can actually do things for you, like write code, create files, browse the web, and integrate with platforms like Telegram, Slack, and Discord. So in this complete beginner's tutorial, I'm going to walk you through everything that you would need to know about Clawdbot. We'll cover what makes it special, whether you need specific hardware, the costs involved, and most importantly, I'll show you exactly how to set it up step by step, from getting your API keys to having your first conversation through Telegram. So by the end of this video, you are going to have your own local AI assistant running on your own computer, ready to help you with your daily tasks.
They love
Let's go ahead and
Telegram.
get Clawdbot set up together. So what exactly is Clawdbot? Most AI tools today live in a browser. Again, you open a tab, ask a question, get an answer, and once you close that tab, everything just kind of disappears. They are useful, but they don't really feel like assistants at all. They feel more like tools that you have to keep reopening over and over again. And that's exactly the problem Clawdbot is trying to solve. Clawdbot is a self-hosted AI assistant that runs directly on your own computer. So instead of living inside a web interface, it just connects to dedicated AI models like Claude or ChatGPT for its intelligence, while the agent itself lives locally on your PC. What makes that interesting is what it can actually do. And Clawdbot isn't just limited to chat only. It can connect to Telegram, Slack, Discord, Google even, and of course other tools depending on how you set it up. You can use it to write code, build applications, do research, create lists, or handle tasks that you would normally bounce between multiple apps for. Because it's running locally, everything stays on your machine. Your conversations, your files, your context, none of that is sitting on some random third-party server. And that's a real advantage here. So with the right configuration, Clawdbot feels way less like a typical AI chatbot and a lot more like an actual assistant that understands your workflow and can interact with your computer. You can have it help build full projects, manage research, or automate things in the background, all while chatting with it through Telegram or whatever platform that you prefer. So what are the main features of Clawdbot? When people hear AI assistant, they usually imagine something that understands their workflow and helps behind the scenes. The reality, a lot of the tools stop at conversation and don't go much further than that. Once you start using Clawdbot though, it will be very much obvious that it's more than just a chat.
All right. If it's going to be a tutorial, I'd rather just I mean, let me see if this is gonna be a tutorial. I'd rather just like go straight to the free code camp one and then look at the other ones for whatever didn't fill in, or use it to fill in whatever wasn't covered. So it's basically the same thing: installing it, security, connecting, prompt injection risk. This is what I talked about. Huge risk. So please do your research. Automating recurring tasks. Building a Kanban board. That's a good idea. Let me see.
That's the output that we want to see. One of the other things that we need to do as well, of course, keeping track of all these different actions. So we're going to come into here. These can go through and just create a Kanban board with all of the backlog of items, the in-progress items, and the done items, so that we can track everything we're doing and have done in the past. We need to make sure that this can run locally on my machine, just so that I can track all the changes. So now we're turning this off and see if it's able to just quickly vibe code a really good add it to life, so that we can use it nice and easily to track all the actions it's using. So there we go. It's just saying that it's done in the background. We'll say allow. We should be able to open this up. There we go. It's able to cut through. It's built a very own Kanban board. It's not worked so through using ChatGPT, which of course is a worse model than what we've got at the moment for Claude's Opus 4.5 and even Gemini. So I definitely use those platforms instead. It looks like we can move them across into the different sections. So there's definitely some UI improvements there. But this is how I would use it. It's definitely tracking what it's doing, anything it's working on. So to make sure it does that, we'll come back across to our dashboard. We're going to say, great, but I need you to make sure that anytime you come up with an idea, you never execute it without my permission. You always add it into the backlog, and you make sure that you remind me maybe every hour of tasks that you want to complete, to complete, so that we can keep that backlog building up, and we can get you working as efficiently as possible across all of the
Love this. It's working on. So see how I said like it's super important that you still have, it's called a human in the loop in the corporate world, but you still have like human oversight essentially over whatever Clawdbot is doing. That's exactly what this guy is talking about, which is like making sure that it doesn't do anything without express permission to do said thing. All right, I've got a few more minutes.
different tasks. So there we go. It looks like it's gone through and executed the command. We can just say, we just added in an extra command here saying, please come up with some tasks you think we should complete, and we want to be reminded every hour between 8 a.m. and 11 p.m. So we'll just let it go through and see what it came up with. So there we go. It looks like it's made the change. We'll say yes, please. So it goes through and add 3 items across. So we should let that go through. We'll say please add all of them so that it's added in actually, because we've got loads of different use cases that we can do then. So once this has gone through, we'll just refresh our Kanban board and see what it's been able to produce. Again, this is why I think this tech is going to be incredibly powerful. Definitely want to run it away from some of my local machines that I would use day to day with some more sensitive data on it, put it on something that's a bit more secure, make sure that we're testing.
This is exactly what I said. So in case you can't listen to 2x speed, he basically said like make sure you don't use it on a day-to-day machine, and use it on a machine that doesn't have as much sensitive data on it, and that's a little bit more secure for you.
From those security elements, and then we'll be able to get it running through, completing loads and loads of different tasks on autopilot. Of course, hopefully we'll still be able to run through using tools like Opus 4.5 to get those better outputs and not breach any of the terms of service, of course, but also not burn through a bunch of credits, which it currently is if we're using the API token, but it may be worth it versus hiring some of the employees. So what we're going to do is come across and we can't see them, so we're just going to say I can't see them on our port. So we'll just make sure that it's actually put it through, otherwise we're not going to have anything to review. So it looks like it's already to go. So we're going to click this link here. It's going to open up for us. We're then going to come through and sync Kanban from the MD. So WoW's got quite a few in there already. So maybe what we need to come back through, and again we can fine tune this as much as we want. We can say maybe we want prioritization for low, medium, high. Again, if these are not all in progress, they should be in the backlog. But what we've just proven is that we're now able to get this to run in the background, improve maybe the apps we've got.
Okay. Let's go to the tutorial.
Clawdbot is a proactive autonomous agent, formerly known as Clawdbot and Moltbot. This powerful runtime allows you to host a personal assistant that can execute real-world tasks, such as managing your calendar, triaging emails, and controlling smart home devices, directly through messaging apps like Telegram and Discord. This course will teach you how to set up...
When it comes to prerequisites for this course, the prerequisites that I assume is that you've had experience using a CLI before, because the CLI is the main way that you interact with OpenClaw, and therefore we need to be able to run commands. However, even if that's not the case, as long as you follow the commands that I do, then it should be fine and dandy. And then also, I'm assuming that you've had exposure to LLMs before and have maybe interacted with them through an API, have done...
All right, so I'm gonna change really quick. I'm gonna change my my screen a little bit here, so you can see my entire window and not just the browser. I'm sorry about the pauses. I'm just trying to. This shouldn't be that much of an issue in the next stream. Okay. Let's transition. All right. So now you see my full screen, and you can see some of my notes that I was taking. So it's basically like the use cases. That was the wrong direction. It's basically like the use cases of Clawdbot. So I did take some notes. Now what I'm going to do is just share my screen while I do this so that you can. I'm using a widescreen monitor, so you're not gonna be able to see everything, but I'm hoping that you can still see some of the important stuff like the terminal. I'll just put it over here. Okay, boom. I want a better terminal. I don't like my terminal. Like you can like customize your bash terminal, and I don't like mine. I want to get a better one, but I need to like learn.
Some prompt or context engineering, because we need to be able to understand many different parts of the context in this repository, because OpenClaw is essentially managing context in a very smart way to accomplish different workflows. You've probably seen how it can do WhatsApp, Discord, Slack, etc. So these are some of the basic requirements, but otherwise this course should be relatively straightforward to follow. And what actually is this course? So let's go through the 9 different modules. First of all, we're just going to do a quick recap of what OpenClaw is. Then we're going to do the installation. We're going to talk about the workspace and memory, which is to say, how is the agent defined? Then we're going to be doing a module on Pinchboard, which is just like Moltbook, essentially a social media for agents. Then we're going to be making our own personal assistant, looking at the skills, which is very similar to Claude skills. Then multi-agent, which is to security. So the first module just discusses what OpenClaw is. So if I make my camera smaller and make this text bigger, OpenClaw is a self-hosted messaging gateway that connects WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, etc. to coding agents. The one word here that is slightly confusing is gateway, because it is a very reoccurring theme in the OpenClaw repository. What does it mean? It's a single long-running process on your machine that maintains persistent connections to different platforms. In this case, we're just talking about the messaging platforms. So you can think of the gateway as this long-running process that whenever a message arrives, for example, it routes it to an agent that can do some execution or do some manipulation on that input. Maybe you have a workflow where every time your employer sends you a message, you tell them that I'm sick or something like that. Then the gateway is what handles this. And what this allows you to do is self-host the entire stack, because you essentially are owning the connections, the config, and the execution environment. Another valid question is, how is OpenClaw different from Claude Code? Because if you've seen the terminal user interface, the TUI, it looks kind of like Claude Code. The difference is that OpenClaw, once again, is fully self-hosted on your machine, and it has many more supported integrations. For example, Claude Code has Slack, but just as we mentioned before, we have WhatsApp, Telegram, Discord, and many others that are supported natively with OpenClaw, and more being supported every single day. And overall, it's just much more configurable, and you can do a lot more with it as opposed to Claude Code. So that would be what I say is the main difference. Quick little FYI, all of the resources displayed in this course can be found at this repository, OpenClaw course, and the GitHub pages is the same URL, but just in the GitHub pages format. So if you're looking to read through any of the resources that I go through in the course, that is all at the following link. So now we can just get straight into the installation. And for this, all you need is a node version greater than node version 22. So if I check my node version.
All right, let's get into it. I wish I could like make my window like make it stay on top, but unfortunately I cannot. So I'm gonna have to put it here in the corner, but just know I'm doing what he's doing. So I'm gonna check my node version if I have one. I should have one because I think I coded on this.
Right now,
yeah, I'm version 19.8.1.
The latest version, which is I believe 25 right now. Otherwise, there isn't much else to have. One thing that is very important, however, is
node help. Let's see if they have an update command. Okay, kind of fucked it here. I'm not a huge pro with this. How Okay, I'm just gonna quit that. I'm gonna terminate that. Node. Terminal. Homebrew. Brew. Okay. I definitely have brew. Oh, I do not have brew. Oh, I need to get brew. Installing homebrew. Just literally just copy that. It's very simple. Homebrew. Installing. All right. I gotta leave in about 10 minutes very soon. But I might come back and end up. What? What? Brew V? Like it literally says. Hold on. I mean, what? That's so weird. Brew help? But it's not like. What? Okay. Why don't we just do it? Use the package right here. Sign my life away. Let us. Okay, so let's now see brew. Am I tripped? Like, what is going on? Why is it not? Like, what? Let's try in a new. There we go. I don't know what's going on with that terminal. Oh, accidentally closed it all off. Okay, so we have brew now. So I need to brew version. Yeah. Brew -v. Homebrew 5.4. Brew update. And then make sure, okay. Brew upgrade node. But it just told me that I had node. Okay. Brew install node then. I want to make sure I actually installed the right thing. Otherwise, I might have just fucked myself before I even started. Nope. Okay. Brew install node, yes. Cool. So why is it saying... Okay, wait, hold on. Maybe it's the same situation. Nope.
Is running this on a local machine versus on a virtual.
Bro. Oh, this is not even like... Okay, so let me ask it. How come Node is installed on my Mac, and when I check the Node version with the command node v, it tells me 19 point something, but when I use Homebrew, it has the most updated version. How do I merge them? Alright, I gotta go very soon. Homebrew, okay. What does that say? February 13th? I think this was maybe when I don't even know. This is definitely not 8:42. Huh. Oh, it is February. Bro, I'm tripping. Yes, that's when I installed it. I have to fix this because I know it's going to be it might end up being a problem later on. Bro. Alright, I'm just gonna cover all my bases here then. Okay. Bro, what? Didn't I unlink that? Okay, hold on. Because I definitely just unlinked that. But I gotta go. Alright. This has been a cool stream, obviously, for me to learn. And I will keep doing this until I feel like I have sufficiently gotten to where I want to get to with Clawdbot. This is a nice little side project for me. And it should help me in my agency as well, in my business. So yeah, I'm gonna keep doing this. I will see you in the next stream. I will be doing more of what I'm currently doing. I have a bunch of stuff planned for the next few streams. So today is mainly just about intro and learning. And then let's see here. Let's see if I can go back. Forward. Okay. So yeah, today was more so about intro and learning, which I guess we technically accomplished that. So the goal was to kind of just I need a good stretch. Okay, the goal was the goal was to accomplish, learning about new agents and stuff, or not new agents, the Clawdbot and just in general. So in the next stream, I'm going to be focused more on building the Clawdbot, and maybe I will stream when I get back. Maybe I'll stream tomorrow. Time will tell. And then in the stream after that, or after that part when I've sufficiently built it, then I will deploy and test in a separate stream or the same stream. It depends. Oh, I'm dropping frames. What is going on? All right, that's my cue to leave then. And yeah, I'll see you in the next stream, today or tomorrow. Have a blessed rest of your day, wherever you are, whatever time it is, and I'll see you soon.